In this video, I put the Volkswagen E-Up to the test. First, off-roading. Here goes. To the person who asked whether the E-Up is any good at green laning, well, it's not the best. It hasn't got masses of ground clearance, but the electric motor is well suited to crawling along, which you kind of have to do when you have got the axle trouble. However, I think there are limits, both to ground clearance and to the sort of obstacles I'm prepared to tackle. I think I might draw the line at this raging torrent. Sorry. So we can perhaps conclude that the E-Up is not the happiest off-roader ever built. Certainly it's a lot more fun on urban routes such as this, you know, battling the mean streets of Aberystwyth. And with it in B mode, I don't need to touch the brake pedal, because as soon as I come off, it will actually slow down to a stop. The suspension's not too bad for a modern car, and pottering around town you'll get great economy. So I'm struggling to top 3 miles per kilowatt hour out in the countryside, largely because it's so much fun. Again, I haven't touched the brake pedal. I will now, just to bring the car to a complete halt. And it's not fighting the transmission like a regular automatic either. If I put the handbrake on, it stops, it doesn't go anywhere. I really like that. There are things I don't like. I don't like the fact that there's a mirror behind this sun visor, so when you've got the sun visor down, you've got a reflected image. Why isn't there a cover on that? I suspect it's cost cutting because it's just identical side to side. I can't say I'm massively blown away with the driving position either. I'm struggling to get it absolutely spot on, and really I'd like the wheel to be a bit lower down and a bit closer to me, but it has no telescopic adjustment, and if I lower it I then start obscuring the top of the speedometer, which is rubbish. One major advantage of having twice as much torque as the regular Up is that you can hill climb no problem at all. We're going up a really steep hill now, and I'm doing the speed limit of 30 miles an hour using 30% of the power. It's just not a problem. And if I put my foot down, it'll still pick up, even going up a really steep hill. The thing I must highlight as a major annoyance is that I tend to find this multifunction display, it keeps shouting that there's no chargers within range. Now A, it doesn't seem to know where all the chargers are. The one I went to at Oswestry the other day didn't recognise it wasn't in the system. And B, it's really irritating. I've got this multifunction screen, it's showing me my average speed, average consumption, driving range, important stuff, and yet it keeps on flashing errors up that you then have to get rid of and then click another button to get back to the screen you were looking at originally. It's infuriating. The E-Up is produced alongside the regular Up and the Skoda Citigo and the Seat Mii in Volkswagen's factory in Bratislava, which is in Slovakia. Like the e-Golf, it's a car that was conceived with possible electric traction in mind, and there's a lovely sculpted battery pack which just bolts up to the underside of the Up to create the E-Up. It's an 18.7 kilowatt hour battery, which is smaller than a lot of electric cars, so all that, yes, that does mean range is a bit more of an issue. It also means quicker charge times. Obviously, if you had an electric car, it would make sense to get a higher output charger installed at home. And one issue with the E-Up and the e-Golf is that the onboard charger, which can use that higher output, is only 3.3 kilowatt, not 6.6 like some of the higher spec Leafs or the Kia Soul, not the Nissan. So that does mean if you're not going to rapid chargers, then the charge time is that much longer. It's certainly good around town. What's it like out on the open road? I can't say that this car is best suited as a city car, because out on these open rural roads, it's an absolute riot. I mean, the steering's a bit dead, but the grip levels are fantastic. And you've got the torque to just keep your speed up no matter what. I mean, to someone like me who loves combustion engines, this is a revelation, because this really is fun. Here we go into a quite tight bend, using B mode to slow down, so I'm not touching the brake pedal. I'm still flitting between regen and acceleration just to control my speed through those bends. Not having to worry about which gear I'm in, because the car only has one gear. Just controlling my pace just with one pedal. Now I'm sure this is doing nothing at all for the range, because I'm having far too much fun. And the problem is, with a combustion engine, you can have your few minutes of fun, and over the course of a full tank of fuel, you probably won't notice any great difference. Your average economy will still be alright, because I've got a much shorter range in this vehicle, so if I hoon too much, I really could leave myself in severe trouble. And as so often happens on these roads when you're having a hooning fun time, I've got stuck behind a slower vehicle. Excellent for my economy, but not so great for just having fun. It's all really good talking about torque, but what does torque actually do for you? Well, if you need to overtake someone, it does that. It means you can whip around them, and you haven't got to worry, am I going to get past before a car comes the other way? It minimises your exposure to danger. I love torque, and the problem is you don't often get torque in little cars. So this is a winning package. Now we're going up a really steep hill that most of my cars struggle with, and here we are just loping along. Well, it must be said, about 10 miles ago when we started this little hoon section, the range was still reckoning about 50 miles. That's dropped to 32. I'm just going to do a plug for where I live. If you want good driving roads, come to Mid Wales. Heavenly, this car's wasted on the cities. One thing I would say to the Welsh government, try and sort out the charging infrastructure. We've got renewables here, we've got hydro, we've got wind turbines. We really should be encouraging electric cars to come here. Incredibly, despite this hooning, my overall average since I left the house, and that does include a bit of town driving, is 3.2 miles per kilowatt hour. I wasn't doing an awful lot better when I was trying to take it really, really easy. Perhaps it's better to drive as fast as you can. Under the bonnet is a motor which drives a single speed gearbox. The boot isn't a bad size and has this nice storage area underneath. Lots of room for your charging cables, that's not too bad. It's quite tight in the back, but there's this scalloped area for my knees. Standard charge time I'm finding is about 5 or 6 hours at home. So in conclusion, the E-Up is a great little car. It's huge fun to drive, it's practical enough for most, it's nice and simple for an electric car. The biggest issue? Price. £20,000, which kind of explains why only 148 have been sold in the UK so far. It's phenomenally expensive, which is a shame. Thank you for watching, don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned and see what I'm coming up with next time. See you again.